Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Wichita Vice.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's up?
Nice.
All right.
Jess.
Hey guys, Chris with a K.
And straight from the Fortress of Solitude, it's the off-brand Superman, Marquez.
Oh, yeah.
And it is your host, Carlos. Well, you guys, thanks again for tuning in. So we're going to go over some certain things here real quick. So you guys, do not forget, we're going to have a special edition for Dune. So for all the Dune fans out there, tune in to the next episode. We're also going to collaborate with Film and Page. So we're looking forward to that collaboration. Also, we will also start giving away tickets for the Eternals. Please, you guys, we'll give out more information here in a little bit about that. Real quick, let's give a quick shout out and thank you to our following sponsors. All right, everybody, welcome back. So we're going to do a whole series here today on Marvel itself. So did you guys already watch the Venom movie?
Yes.
I did.
I did.
We did.
All
yes.
right.
Okay.
So what we decided to do today is we're going to bring in that Spider-Man universe together. So for the Marvel hero, we have Spider-Man. I know we're
The
pretty kind of
ultimate.
the ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So we're a little familiar with him. We know that he was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. He appeared on Amazing Fantasy issue number 15 on 1962. So our how you say it? Wall crawler friend.
Yeah.
Over here like,
Friend.
whoa.
He has
So
a lot of nicknames.
Okay, well we'll keep it basic here. So
Okay.
let's talk a little bit about him. So what powers does he have, Chris?
Well, you got the wall crawler. He can kind of stick to anything. He is incredibly smart, which didn't come from the spider bite, was just a natural thing that allowed him to also create his webbing shooters and the web itself. He's also got the spider sense. That's probably his biggest thing, which is almost a psychic foresight to immediate events. Immediate danger is really what it alerts him to. Any sort of immediate life-threatening danger that he can sense a split second and thus react to that right beforehand. So those are his major ones. Of course, with his spider, he's got the traditional super strength kind of. Super healing and endurance, but the big ones I think that separate him are his spider sense is a huge one, and then of course his ability to wall crawl and stick to everything.
Yeah, and he isn't technically a speedster, but he's one of the most quick and agile beings in the Marvel universe. I mean, his agility is like superhuman. I mean, superhuman level agility.
Which
along with it,
kind of comes with that spider sense.
Yeah.
The quickness to react to that.
Yeah, exactly. He could jump. I forgot how many feet in the air, like 40 feet in the air on
Right.
one leap. I've always liked Stan Lee's literature. With great power comes great responsibility. That's always been synonymous with Spider-Man.
Sure.
That was the book that got me in. It made everyone look at Marvel like, okay, yeah, this is comic books can get a lot of respect as legitimate forms of entertainment and literature.
Well, when you have that commanding theme that just continues throughout all
Yeah.
iterations of Peter Parker or Spider-Man with Miles, all the variations of, no matter how he comes about it, it comes down to that. I'm strong and I've got to protect and
Yeah.
use that strength for good and justice and the right things, not the wrong. And
Yeah.
I mean, and that's definitely his moral sense. I would almost say is practically a superpower. How much he holds to that truth of.
Oh, he sticks to that.
I mean,
yeah. Even in the face of Armageddon,
Mm-hmm.
That's Spider-Man.
I really grown to appreciate Spider-Man through the years because the simple fact you can relate to him. He lives a simple life. He struggles with the bills like everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And also he is a caring friend. He's very family oriented. And overall, in his shows, when you watch, especially like when you watch the old cartoons, and then you got some in the 90s, and then today, he's always there for you.
Yeah.
As a hero. So he's
Friendly
it's
neighborhood
just
Spider-Man.
yeah, right. I
Just
mean,
a
he's
wholesome character.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the thing is, but he's so unreliable at work because you see he's always late. He's always finding
Well, he's a
excuses.
superhero.
So
Poor
Yeah.
MJ.
I mean,
Yeah.
he'd have to little upgrade on his resume a little bit. But overall, in the Marvel universe, Spider-Man is an essential character.
Oh yes,
He is.
absolutely. I mean,
And-
you can't tell
I think
Marvel
just
without
almost in the
Spider-Man.
comic, like he's one of those icons like Superman and Batman. Like Spider-Man sets the whole tone for for generations of like. I mean, he's one of the first Marvel live action TV series back in the 70s.
Yeah, I remember that show.
It was
Yeah,
bad. I
remember
think
that.
you can find it out there.
Yeah,
I'm
it
sure.
was
just- Oh,
it might
yeah,
even
I'm
be
sure.
on Disney Plus, I think.
Yeah, it had a cool theme music though. I remember.
Yeah, well, and that
That
stuck
wasn't
with
that,
it. That
though.
was the key right
Yeah,
there.
it was like
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. That's it.
Yeah.
And but yes, the iterations of him, the Tobey Maguire, the Andrew
Oh, yeah.
Garfield, and I think Tom Holland might be the best, arguably.
Yeah.
I remember when Tobey Maguire's came out. I mean, there was clapping at the end of that when I went to the premieres.
Yeah.
I mean, it was huge to see, and it was the first time Spider-Man really was Spider-Man on the big screen. You know, web slinger, you have the whole Sam Raimi's take of putting the webs in his arms and being a spider modification.
The
That was
organic webbing that was
Yeah.
actually borrowed from Spider-Man 2099. It was a book that Marvel released in the 90s. It was called Organic Webbing. Yeah, Spider-Man
Okay.
2099 had
that version had.
organic, yeah.
Okay.
It's also
Yeah, so-
unfortunate that they've had so many different Spider-Mans in the movies. There's always
Yeah.
like
The
a new
kid and stuff.
Spider-Man.
Well, they've done that with DC. Did that with Batman.
I guess
you
it
know,
is true,
Michael
yeah.
Keaton, Val Kilmer.
When it sounds
You
like
know.
this,
You don't you
Christian
dare
Bale.
say George Clooney. If you say
George
George
Clooney.
Clooney,
Oh, you gotta love George Clooney.
I'm gonna.
That's okay.
I think he made a good
really
Bruce
campy.
Wayne. I just did not like him as Batman. That was
Well,
the only
it was
thing I did
the-
not like. I
Can
know
we say the nipples? Can we say that on there? it was the suit, man. It was just.
I know
like-
we're on Marvel here, but I gotta say this about George Clooney Batman. I mean, it was just like you said, the nipples on the suit. I mean, what was that for?
Yeah,
what was
like-
It's
it?
aerodynamic. Yeah.
What was it?
really breaks through.
The speed makes him go faster.
It was like because he was fighting Mr. Freeze or something. Anyway, we're
Oh,
getting off
okay.
topic. We need to
Alright,
get back
okay,
to
yeah.
Spider-Man.
That's a whole nother.
But
Thank
yeah,
goodness-
I've the Tom Holland, especially the villain in the first one. I think the first one, Michael Keaton's Vulture, was a great villain.
Yeah, that was a great.
The second one, Mysterio, wasn't.
I
me.
thought Jay Gyllenhaal was a good Mysterio.
I thought he did
though.
well. I
thought
just
he
didn't
was-
care for the character development
Yeah.
personally on it.
Yeah, just the deceptive nature of
Yeah.
the character. To me, that's what set it off. I mean, I actually wanted to trust him.
Yeah.
I was actually watching
That's
Spider-Man
the
Far
good
From Home,
actor,
thinking
right?
like, okay, well, maybe this guy isn't a villain. In
William Defoe's Goblin was pretty good.
Oh
yeah,
yes.
yeah, and
Yeah,
Sam
yes.
Raimi, Spider-Man.
William Defoe's.
I thought he was going to take. I thought he was going to take out Aunt May. When remember the movie where she
Yeah.
slapped him and he gave her the look like
Oh,
strike three,
You're
you're out.
wrong person to be slapping there.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
But overall, when you're looking at these characters, of course, Tobey Maguire, the first Spider-Man was awesome. I mean, I remember. Okay, let's go back to memory lane. You remember when they kept replaying the song over and over on the radio? That it was the Nickelback singer in that other group. What was the song called? It was the theme for
There's a
Spider-Man.
hero to save.
See, I knew you could
I'm
sing.
not I
Look
can't
at
sing.
you. I
I
caught
cannot
you. You
sing. No.
Voice like an angel.
No.
tune in
What?
first, you guys. I'll be his agent. But
yeah. Okay.
so then when the second one came out, especially Dr. Octopus, that
was
a
a good
Doc
one.
Ock.
man. That movie was long though.
Yeah.
You think it was like 2.5 hours,
I mean,
I
I
think
thought
is what it
that's one
was.
of those. I thought that Spider-Man was one of those sequels that was like, oh, this is a sequel that is at least as good as the first one.
But you see how it just generated, and then it was taking its time, and then just got better and better. And Dr. Octopus was just challenging him mentally, physically, and then overall, I just like the plot of this one. That it was really good. But then let's don't get started on the third one. The third one, I felt like it was just rushed
That
to
was-
get every. I mean, how are you gonna have
It was like the
Venom,
George Clooney
and then you
Batman.
got it's like you got Venom, and then you got the Sandman, and then next thing you know, now you're bringing back Green Goblin. I mean,
Yeah.
you're dealing with too much. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Well, there never felt like a strong there was never such a strong thing to build a great climax too that you felt like you're like, oh yeah, of course he beat them all. Yeah,
I mean,
was
it
easy
didn't really
win.
impact me because I don't really remember the third one very well.
It wasn't
so
no
Topher
obviously, if
Grace.
I don't remember it, it's probably
Yeah.
not worth my time again.
Yeah, Topher Grace played Venom. Yeah, I think that's a good segue into the villain. Yeah.
But overall, Spider-Man
that-
has one of the best. He's got the best unique villains. I mean, especially
Yeah.
we've talked about in the last shows, you know, with Rhino, and then especially with Hob and Green Goblin, and then Mysterio,
Especially in the
Shocker.
Marvel universe, he does have some of those very iconic villains.
Who's your
Yeah.
favorite villain in Spider-Man, Chris?
Oh,
Oh man, I mean Goblin has got to be
Goblin-
the number one.
I like Goblin.
Venom, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
Venom.
You,
Venom's
Jesse?
a good one.
Yeah.
Kingpin ain't too bad.
You know,
Yeah.
I like him, but I
Kingpin's not
like
bad.
him. I like him more for like I don't know why Daredevil and Spider-Man, since they're in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, they're both
Sometimes-
Or New York.
neighborhood.
Kinda
It's 'cause
neigh-
they're neighborhood.
But the thing is,
guys.
Kingpin comes off to me more of Daredevil, more the Marvel Knights, kind of more serious tone. Spider-Man, he, you know, a little here, a little there. I mean, yeah, you know, just stopping by. But just overall, I still feel out of that Sinister Six, I mean, especially with Rhino, like you have your villains that will beat you mentally, and then again, others that will beat you physically. See, Dr. Octopus, I liked him because he's unique.
Well,
He's
he had-
unique.
yeah,
he's
he-
brilliant, and he's able to just every time in the cartoon shows, it just drove me up the wall when Spider-Man's trying to fly out and this guy's grabbing him, slamming him down. I go, Spider-Man, come on, dude, get with the program here. And
Yeah.
then just you watch Hobgoblin. He's had more appearances than the Green Goblin.
Yeah,
But the Hobgoblin, he's just a ripoff of the Green Goblin. But
Yeah.
the Green Goblin is stronger than the Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
So, but no, we overall, we still have more Spider-Mans to go. We have another movie, Far From Home, right?
coming out in December, I believe.
Yeah. So we will do a special edition for Spider-Man on that show. So we won't try to repeat ourselves here, but what we'll do is we're going to just give it its special edition. So, all right, you guys, let's go ahead and move on to the next person here. This is what Marquez was saying, kind of his favorite person here. His name is
Yeah.
Venom.
Yeah.
So, Marquez, I'm going to leave that off to you real quick. Tell me about Venom.
Venom, Eddie Brock. Yeah, he's a reporter. Originally, he and Peter Parker, they worked together, and of course, Peter Parker ruined him because he exposed how his phony photography, and the symbiote feeds off of hate. And this was around the time when Spider-Man got the black suit symbiote, and it was drawn to Eddie Brock when Spider-Man was trying to get it off of him, and that's what created Venom, is the symbiote. And I don't think they touched on this in the movie, but the symbiote gives, because it was bonded to Spider-Man's DNA, it gives Eddie Brock similar powers. And in the comic book, Spider-Man's Spidey sense didn't warn him when Venom was attacking him. So that's what made him a very dangerous enemy. I just love the idea of the symbiote and the way it changes your physiology, and it once it bonds to you. It's like if you get a symbiote, you're bound to serve it. It's weird. They didn't touch on this in the movies, but it almost corrupts you. You know, it's actually a pretty cool concept. I can go on and on about the symbiote, but
But I thought that's one of the things that makes Venom such a powerful foe for Spider-Man is when he attaches to Spider-Man, even more so than when he's attached to Eddie Brock or
well,
an outside character, because Spider-Man has to fight from he can't use his powers. He has to use just his will and smarts to get him off into somebody else.
he did outsmart Venom. I mean, that was the only way he couldn't
Right.
stand toe to toe with Venom. He never could.
Right,
But,
not physically.
No. But that, I think when it comes to anti-heroes, they got popular in the 90s, you know,
With
out of
Punisher and
Blade, Wolverine,
yeah.
Spawn. Venom broke off and had his own series called The Lethal Protector. And that was actually a really neat series. I became a Venom fan because
Which they
of
actually brought out in that movie.
Yeah, they referred to him as the Lethal Protector, and I thought, oh hey, I have all those comics. But
Which
yeah,
we're delving into the movie a little bit, right?
Yeah, go ahead. It's
yeah,
go for
that's
it.
what I was gonna ask.
So that one of the things, like I don't know. I don't want to give it thumbs up, thumbs down. It's like halfway in the middle for me because it wasn't bad, but it just felt like there was so much more they could like get into the background of different things and expand on a lot of different ideas that they brought out.
Yeah, it was short.
It was too short. Like
way too short. I felt like
you have them go, oh, it's a red one, and that's all they say. Like, why is that bad?
Yeah,
what's the difference? Why does that matter at all?
Maybe it's a more powerful version of the Venom symbiote. Maybe I don't know.
Maybe, but it seems like they had the chance to explain that.
Yeah,
missed opportunity. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I think by taking it out of the Spider-Verse, out of the Spider-Man universe, that's what kind of diminished a lot of the continuity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's obviously things that they couldn't say in regards to that. So I think that's why they...
Which there was there is that lead in to the Spider-Verse there right
at the
very
end.
So
Oh yeah, spoiler alert.
and that's going to be kind of curious to see how that goes with the next Spider-Man because that's supposedly the last of that. So
I thought that was so cool. I was wide, my eyes were so
that
wide.
was
I was like, whoa.
maybe the best part of the movie.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the best part. It was a good part. It was definitely a high point.
In that movie, there was too many traditional sequel tropes with, you separate from the power to create a greater understanding of how much you need that and of each other from both perspectives. And they didn't build up on the things that were new to it, like the new symbiote that just existed from nothing. And
it didn't.
And what Venom's overall really his desire. I mean, yes, he wants brains so he can live, but what else is, like he says, he's seen billions of, he's been alive for billions of years and seen billions upon billions of star systems, to where even a brief glimpse of that knowledge is too much for the human brain to even comprehend. Like, what is his overall thing? What's he just trying to eat brains? Come on, zombie.
well, most organisms, its first rule of it is survival. So, maybe that's part of the survival spectrum. Now, don't get me wrong, Carnage, I felt like I didn't want to see them kill him. I just, there's so many awesome villains that they kill off in the movies that I think should still just sort of be out there, still like a potential threat that could come back at any moment.
And in my opinion, the best part of that movie was Woody Harrelson's
Carnage.
Man.
Cletus Cassidy.
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, he brought a little bit of that natural born killer
to
it. Just a little bit, not a whole lot, but enough of that crazy underlying.
Yeah, so like in that
like
movie, I kind of wonder if like that symbiote took in all his like psychosis stuff and made him stronger. Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I think that it amplifies who and what you are. In the comic book, Eddie Brock was a powerlifter, an Olympic level athlete who sought his dad's praise. That's all he wanted was for his dad to say, "Hey, good job," and he never did. So when he got the symbiote, it's like, "Look at me now."
That makes sense.
All Cletus wanted was chaos.
Yeah,
to destroy.
Yeah, he
the
was
world.
like, that's pretty much. It's just chaos.
Abused by everyone he had been.
Yeah,
that
was
was
literally
and stuff. Yeah,
that was bad.
But I was going to ask you guys real quick. So kind of going back just a little bit. So when the symbiote in the comic books and they showed in the cartoon series, they went to John Jameson's son went to space, right? And then it came back to them.
Capsule.
The capsule came back, and then Spider-Man was the first one to get attached to the symbiote. Am I right?
Yes.
And then in the comic books, they talk about that, the Secret Wars. But during the show, overall, he was struggling. Like, he was enjoying it. So it enhanced his abilities.
Yeah.
And then it was trying to turn him in a darker mode. Am I right, Marquez?
Yeah,
I mean,
that was it.
Okay, and then you kind of parallel over to the movie. Oh, gosh. Okay,
Yeah.
in the third one, okay, let's just try to keep it.
That. Yeah.
He became a dancer, egotistical.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's like, what in the world just happened? And then overall, when you merge them together, What was the breaking point for Spider-Man to say, hey, you know what? I don't want this no more.
His personal life was suffering.
Yeah,
You know, his Aunt
Aunt
May, Mary Jane. He recognized that, hey, look, this isn't me.
He was hurting the people he cares for. The whole reason he's doing it.
Yeah, it feeds off the dark impulses, unfortunately. So, and Eddie Brock, he embraced the dark impulses, you know, because he was already in Carnage. Oh, that was he was at home with a symbiote.
Yeah.
But that was kind of his breaking point. He realized the people that he cared about they kept asking him, "What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?" And he couldn't answer. And he finally, it's the suit. You know, he even went to Doc the Lizard, the I forgot the Doc or was it Osborne?
It's the crocodile.
No, the Lizard. It's his name. He was a doctor that lost his arm, and he synthesized something to regrow his arm, but the side effect, he became a lizard. But no, and he took a little bit of the symbiote to him, and he asked him, well, did you get any of this on you? He's like, no, I didn't. He said, yeah, it feeds off of aggression.
It's Dr. Connors, by the way.
Connors, yeah, okay, yeah. Doc Connors is the lizard, yeah.
Okay, so pretty much overall. So do you feel that the movie gave it justice to the character of Venom, and then especially with the sequel, Carnage?
I thought the first Venom was really good and gave a good deal for Eddie Brock and it's more the anti-hero Eddie Brock, not the dark Venom, and Eddie Brock as the new movies have more adhered to, like, not quite the Agent Venom.
Yeah.
Agent Venom.
No, this isn't Agent Venom.
Not quite that. It's more that Lethal Protector.
Yeah, that's...
And yeah, the new, as far as Venom, I think so. I felt like Carnage was a little... I just don't think they gave Carnage the respect that Carnage should have.
Yeah, I mean, as much as, you know, what they can do within a 2 hour and 30 minute or hour and 30 minute movie. I mean, it just...
That's the problem. I think it was just like, he's Cletus 1 second, now he's Carnage, and things are crazy. Like,
yeah, there was very little growth in the movie.
And there was definitely a struggle between Cletus and Carnage with, like, his girlfriend, the girl that he wanted to save, I don't know what her... I mean, she has the voice deal that...
Yeah, the sonic scream.
That Carnage hated. And I felt like there was definitely something there that they could have built on, that the non-teamwork between the two of those. They could have spent some time on.
I know, right?
And given some backstory and given some information through that, like why that matters, like why it matters for a symbiote to be able to really not just Eddie Brock has that physical ability to withhold Venom, where Venom goes to other people and just uses them up in a few hours or whatever, and has to move on to a new person. Eddie Brock can hold it, so that's one thing. But then there's also the ability to actually work in conjunction and building that teamwork. And I think they could have gone into how that benefits Eddie versus Cletus with him not being able to work as well. They mention it for a second, but they don't actually go into how those things... I mean, they're definitely in the relationship of Eddie and Venom, but there's no in the relationship of Cletus and Carnage.
Well, I think that dynamic really... I mean, because Venom, Eddie, he didn't want to eat people.
Right.
Whereas to Carnage, he had no problem.
Yeah, he's just like, bring it, dude.
Yeah,
Which I think they could have gone shopping for some cow brains and stuff, right? Like,
well, they had the
chickens. That's all you got.
But
you live in there's cow. There's beef brain out there. I guarantee you. It's a delicacy.
One question I want to ask you, Chris, is okay. So in the comic books, also, the times that Spider-Man and Venom work together, they're pretty good team.
Sure.
Overall. So, but at the end, can you explain why does Venom, besides the obvious, what made Venom and Spider-Man kind of the arch enemy? Pretty much, it's just.
I think that Venom wants Spider-Man's power. Like, yes, Eddie is a great symbiote, but Spider-Man has all this power.
Yeah.
And he wants that. He really just. He wants, and he knows with that, I don't have to worry. I can eat all I want.
Well, yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
I mean, he wants Spider-Man's power.
Because he kind of has a conscience right now inside of Eddie Brock, and he's just like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Spider-Man in the comic book was the first that symbiote attached to.
And just the taste
So-
of that, like,
Yeah.
he wants to get back to that. He tries to replicate it with his own stuff when he's away from it. Like you were saying, you know, he does a lot of the moves and things that Spider-Man does.
Yeah.
So he's
Really
definitely trying to get. He has a hunger for Spider-Man.
get
Yeah.
that extra boost and energy.
And
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Hey, I want to say, by the way, sorry for my phone going off. I'm just throwing it out there. All right. So, all right, let's go ahead and move on to the villain, the main villain, Carnage. So, Marquez, tell me a little bit about Carnage.
Cletus Cassidy, serial killer, just all around bad dude. Yeah, he has the red symbiote. He's a result of I don't know. There's a couple of different origin stories for him, but both have to do with Venom. The first and probably my favorite one when in the comic book Eddie Brock was incarcerated and Cletus Cassidy was his cellmate. And when he bonded with the symbiote, he escaped, but he cut himself. And then Cletus Cassidy tasted the blood, and then the symbiote grew inside of him, and then he emerged as Carnage. And that's the origin of the character. His powers, he can form pretty much any type of weapon out of his suit that he wants, like any stabbing weapon, sharp constructs. He's extremely vicious. He's quick. He's agile. He's strong. And here recently in the comic book, he has some sort of mental powers. He has mental abilities. I knew they weren't going to touch on that in the movie because this is the first time we've seen the character on the big screen. But yeah, he's just he's not just Spider-Man's villain, but he's Venom's arch enemy as well.
Okay, Chris. So overall, when I was doing a little bit of research, now Carnage and Venom was created by David Michelini, and also I totally forgot to touch up on this, but Carnage was also created by Mike Badgley, and so going in later on through the years, were these characters made to give Spider-Man a different level of a hard time, or because you're trying to pinpoint the
I feel
villains
like
here.
in some instances, in some occurrence, even they came in at the same time, and you have even at times teamed up against Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I'm not super familiar with Carnage and all of his backstory, but I feel like I've seen them at times in the Amazing Spider-Man series.
Yeah, there was a book series called Maximum Carnage, which I had a few issues of. They kind of touched on that. They touched on what Carnage it is. He is driven by chaos, pretty much. And I think
Right, like Venom actually has a little bit of a personality almost, not just instinctual drive as like Carnage does.
Well, the same way that Spider-Man feels about Venom, Venom feels that way about Carnage. If it wasn't for me, if Spider-Man feels like if it wasn't for me, there'd be no Venom. Venom feels like if it wasn't for me, there'd be no Carnage.
I gotcha.
So it's like that stair stepped,
Mhm.
and that's why that is so much appropriate. That Carnage referred to Venom as a father,
Mm-hmm.
because biologically he did spring from him. I don't know how they reproduce, but
I almost felt like in this movie they treated Carnage the way they treated Venom in the old Tobey Maguire #3. Like there just wasn't a depth to that.
no, there wasn't.
And you've got to have depth to your villain to make a movie really set with somebody. Like there's got to be an overcoming of something. And yeah, he looked really big and strong, but how many movies do we see that the superhero easily overpowers a big and strong guy by outsmarting them or real quick and easy. So I feel like they just left out. There was so much. I feel like another 30 minutes could have of just character growth.
Yeah, they could have done more with that.
It was
I'll
kind of
agree.
confusing, like because it's like he bites. It's like, okay, and now we have Carnage.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't understand. Like, was that like a
Well,
like I made like I don't know. Like, that's pretty much what it was.
Even the bite seemed like not very, like it didn't come about in a natural order. Like it felt like they're like, okay, we've got to make him bite him, and like it wasn't like, oh, this happened and he got the blood, like you were saying in the comic book where he broke out, where Eddie broke out, and then Cletus, like, you know, found his blood, and of course, as crazy as he is, he would lick it. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But just grabbing him out of the blue and trying to bite his hand while he, you know.
Yeah.
And they, like, I was watching the staging of that scene, and it's like you see Eddie just continually get closer to the cage that says "stand 6 feet away." Like, what are you doing?
And there's also a security guard in the room.
Not saying a dang thing.
It's like reading a book.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
So,
It was kinda
I just
convenient, but-
felt like it was not
Felt like a cheap horror movie,
organic.
right?
Yeah, it did.
Oh.
yeah, all that's missing is the lightning and thunder now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there
Yeah,
was potential. They hit some of the stereotypical sequel tropes, but they didn't expand in any place that could have made it an actual good movie.
Yeah. I mean,
And maybe they shot the scenes and it just got edited down, but
yeah, I'd be curious to see some deleted scenes. You
Because
know,
it-
in the
I felt like it had the potential, and there were some good scenes, there were some funny scenes, but it just didn't have the weight that you know what I mean? Like, especially coming off on the heels of something like Shang-Chi, where you're like, man, it's a dude's dad, and it's 10,000. He's been fighting for thousands of years, and there's this big buildup with the relationship and overcoming
Great movie.
both self and family issues. Yeah, I mean, and then you come out with something like Venom, where you're like, oh, it's almost like a bad buddy cop movie. Like the two buddies, like they split, you know, they're buddies, but not really. They split. And
Let's
they're
go
like,
to a
oh, no,
rave."
we're better together. And they come back, and
yeah.
it really felt like a bad.
But see, I enjoyed the short, action-packed
That's
nature
true.
of the movie. You know, just everything was so straightforward. I felt like some of the depth did fall through the cracks. It was like, okay, yeah, we've got to explain
No,
that.
that's what. Like,
For-
I don't
for
want to
people-
say it's a bad movie,
Well-
because there was good. Like, the scenes were good. That it's just like it left so much on the table.
For guys like us that know the stuff, but we're familiar with the comic.
I think it would just
But the-
confuse people that don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
Which
exactly
is
what I was
just
gonna
as
say,
much of
yeah.
a problem. Like,
Yeah. You need people who aren't from, to go see the
Yeah, my
movie.
wife coming out is going to go, what did I just see? I have no idea what happened.
Yeah.
The party scene was my favorite. It's like,
Yeah. I like
okay.
When you're a comic book fan, you're looking for, okay, how did this come to be? If you're going in like, hey, well, it's got Tom Hardy in there, it must be a good movie. So yes, it helped with Woody Harrelson being there with the comedy. The script was okay for it, what it needed it to be, but still, I agree with you, Chris. I agree with you. I just felt that movie was just rushed. Just kind of let's just get it all in there, get it to the point, and let's drive it home. It's kind of like, hey, help me out, build up on. I like movies that build up. I don't need another like a Batman movie. I don't need to know the whole basics. I already know what's going on. But
Yeah.
here's a good movie. I'll throw one out there, a throwback, RoboCop.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see how the sequences of it. He was a cop. He gets killed. He becomes RoboCop, and he's taking care of people. That's all it is. I like sequence movies like that. It helps me understand. But when you're just trying to rush it through the whole process, and then you throw in a couple laughs because it was funny. The movie was good.
Yeah.
It was real funny.
Yeah, no,
It just
I enjoyed
you're
it.
just kind of just sitting back like, man, well, we just saw this, like you said, Shang-Chi. When we watched that, it was just an amazing movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know too much about it, but it helped me understand the movie.
There was depth to it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
Well, I've always tell people every single time they make a movie on something that already exists, like a comic book, a hard book, or a video game. I always tell people don't go in with that preconceived notion of, okay, this is based on this, But in Carnage and Venom and There Will Be Carnage, I felt like it's best to have that preconceived notion. It's best to, that way all this stuff because they didn't explain anything. It's best to familiarize yourself with the comic books and the character prior to going
Well,
to see the movie.
And it may wind up being kind of similar to the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern, where it's not a bad movie. It's just like you were just so close. Like it's going to be considered bad because it didn't get to where they were so close to getting.
Yeah.
Like
I didn't think the Green Lantern movie was as bad as everyone.
No,
told me it was.
yeah, and I mean we can go. We talked about it in the last one. Like I went back and watched it, and it's a pretty good movie, but it was just there was just those things like there was those a few pockets of areas where it's like a little bit more of information or description of where they're taking the story would really build that into a great movie, not just it was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was okay. It wasn't bad, but I don't,
I look forward when they do the next movie, the Green Lantern Corps. When they do it,
Yeah,
hopefully
I
we
hope
can
they
get
can
that right.
do that
We'll get
right.
it right.
Are they? Oh, I'm
Well-
hoping. That to me is just.
We'll just have to. We'll just have to see. So overall, again, like what we said before, we're not done with Spider-Man yet. So we will tune into him in December when we promote the new movie. But so, thank you again, guys. Real quick, we want to say is that next up for next month in November, we will do the Eternals. So that'll be the next episode. We'll talk about them. We'll talk about the Deviants, and we're going to follow up what's going to happen going forward in the Marvel Universe. And also, guys, do not forget the next contest we're going to do are the tickets for the Eternals. So here's some ways to do it. First of all, follow us on YouTube. Also, follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Instagram, Facebook, and our webpage to sign up for the tickets. We do contests for sports fellas, so if you're into sports, that's the way to go. If you're also into anime, we've got our show there, Anime Insomniac. Looking forward to that as well. And last but not least, we need to get back to the cutting crew. I've heard you guys. I know we're going to get there. You guys just work with us. So to enter the contest, go to razorcutinfo.wixsite.com/RCI 2021. Again, it's razorcutinfo.wixsite.com/RCI 2021. So there's multiple ways to get in, you guys. So please keep following us, like, subscribe, and talk to us and tell us what you think. So we'll go ahead and we'll do our final shout outs here.
I'd like to thank everybody out there in the interwebs land for tuning in. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.
Hey guys, I want to thank my wife and family for letting me come out and have a good time. And as always, and everyone here, thanks for coming out, guys.
I have too many people to list here. We'd be here all night. But thanks everyone for watching. Love you guys.
That was fast. I was waiting.
Oh.
Well, of course, as always, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for taking time to come out. Also, thank the people behind the scenes, Andrew and Eric and Paul. Thank you so much. I want to thank to the audience and the viewers. Thank you so much for tuning in to us. And I want to thank friends and family overall. There's just too many to go on, so I'm just going to try to wrap it up. Thank you guys for being so supportive. And like I said, we're going to push towards this, and going into the new year, we're going to keep going and going on the shows to keep this show growing. So please help us out, support us, like and subscribe. Thank you so much, you guys. We'll see you in the next episode.